What's up, guys? It's Aaron J. Daigle to talk about going from a great mess to greatness. And this video is special to my heart because the concept of going from a great mess to greatness was born at a time in my life whenever I was strung out on drugs. And it correlates to the timing because this week was 420 and a bunch of crazies are out there celebrating by smoking weed. But in my case, 16 years ago on 420, I smoked my last weed, took my last drugs, took my last drink, and I have been sober and clean for 16 years ever since. Maybe you're watching this video and you or someone you love is on drugs right now, or perhaps there's another struggle going on, some kind of sin or habitual habit that's got you tied up, entangled, something that you're struggling to break free from, asking God to deliver you from, but haven't been able to get the victory over. And that is the great mess that we're in right now. But I want to encourage you today that God can take that mess and turn it into greatness. And the first way to get started by turning a mess into greatness is seeing that like button on the bottom of this video is a gray mess. It's just plain and bare and ugly. But if we smash it until it turns blue, it's not going to be a mess anymore. It'll just be greatness. And I really appreciate it. Now, to get started with this concept, let me share a story with you of when I was struggling in this addiction. On one particular occasion, I was sitting around in a circle with about 4 or 5 other friends. We're smoking a blunt, passing it side to side. And when it got to me, I hit the blunt and I'm sitting there holding it in, go to pass it, and I'm blowing out the weed. And as I'm doing that, God is talking to me and he's telling me, Aaron, I have something better for you. I didn't call you to this. I didn't create you for this. I created you to travel and to minister and to help people around the world. And literally while I'm getting high, God is telling me that he had called me to ministry. Right there, tangled up inside of my mess, God was speaking to my heart about greatness. And there's 2 reasons why I'm sharing this story with you today. The first is because you may find yourself in some sort of a mess and feel like you've so far gone from God that you cannot reconnect with him or reestablish your walk with him, as if God is angry and he's given up on you and there's no more hope. But Romans 5:8 doesn't say that after we became perfect, Christ died for us. It says that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. You see, Jesus isn't reaching for the person who has it all together. He's reaching for the person whose world is completely falling apart. And just like he was speaking to me while I was sinning, while I was doing drugs, God is speaking to your heart too. In your situation, in your mess, God is calling you out of that and saying there is still hope, and I still want to have a relationship with you, and I want to forgive you and change your life for the better. Now, the second reason why I shared this story with you is because sometimes we feel like God wants to do something great through our lives, do some sort of ministry through us, have an impact in the world, but we get entangled up in a sin, in a habit, or in something that makes us feel like God will never use us again. Well, in the book, From a Great Mess to Greatness, that goes into much more detail about the story that I'm sharing with you today about. I explain how when I was 12 years old, God spoke to my heart and called me to travel as a missionary, and then share the story about 3 years later whenever God was speaking to me while I was using drugs. And this reveals what God tells us in Romans 11:29, which says that God's gifts and his call can never be withdrawn. You see, God called me to ministry, then I got on drugs, and he continued calling me while I was using drugs. And I believe that when he set me free from drugs 16 years ago, he knew that I'd be sharing this video with you today. And so maybe you started a ministry or feel like God called you to do something for him, but since then you've blown it and have done things that make you feel disqualified. But check this out. When God called you in the past, he knew the mess you would be in the present, and also had in mind the greatness that he has planned for you in the future. So you have not blown it, you have not gone too far, and God's hand is still on your life to do something great through you. He will take you from a great mess to greatness. Now, if you'd like more details on this story, go ahead and check out the entire testimony, From a Great Mess to Greatness. I'll link it down in the description below. But through this resource, I not only share how God delivered me from drugs and drinking, but how he brought me through a stabbing, child abuse, molestation, rape, jail, and murder. It's the open, vulnerable story of how God wants to take both of us from a great mess to greatness. And look, thank you for taking the time to let me encourage you through this video. If you'd like to help out with the channel and like the video if you haven't done so, it pushes it out to more viewers over the next 24 hours, and I just really appreciate the support. And I know I'm not the only one with a testimony. If you want to engage and comment below and share a little bit about your story, I'd love to hear from you and always enjoy responding in the comments together. So again, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.